Okay, so I had to make some more room. I just do the best I can with what I have. So I am a perfect example for being somebody that just is starting with their cell phone. I don't have any fancy microphones, or this isn't like a backdrop, you know what I mean? This is just me, and this is just what I have, and my storage space and my, um, things like that are gonna get better. We'll just say that. I don't need to go into that. So anyways, so back to the card. Back to the King of Staves. If you're here watching, thank you for being patient with the fact that my phone will stop in the middle of the recording, and while trying to show up authentically for myself, I have chosen not to. Maybe I should just shut the window. I've chosen not to um, edit my videos. I just go with what I have recorded because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I think that there may be even symbols and signs for you watching this video, um, maybe like the dog's barking or things like that. Those are all maybe things that I believe are going to connect with somebody. Maybe your dog's barking right now, too. You know what I mean? Maybe you're fighting. Maybe you're going through something, maybe there's some energy in your aura that is, I mean, my sister's dogs, they always bark at anyone that comes around. And sometimes when Cowboy always barks, he's just always barking no matter what. It doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how 100 times if he's seen you. He's just like burp, burp, burp. He's a little chihuahua. All right. So, anyways, back to the cards. King of Staffs. So, all right. So we're gonna start with the reading. The King of Staffs is often found behind the scenes, on the board of directors, or with his genuine love of nature at the campfire's edge. He is comfortable in any situation life hands him, likable and friendly, but soft-spoken in his easy manner. He is outgoing in an understated way. Many turn to him for advice. He is a stable and established member of the community. This man is usually married, happily so, and a loving father, though occasionally overindulgent. The salamander The salamander, with his tongue of flames, finds sanctuary at the throne of his regal host. The seat of power is rooted where the tower of a tree once grew. The King of Staffs has worn well the royal robe of responsibility. The weight of his crown tempers his fiery nature into the even warmth of his castle's hearth. The griffin of his banner, like the lion, but rarer, is a solar beast displaying this ruler's might. But like his queen's, his is a gentle rule. So I'm really getting someone that, like I said, is coming from a tower moment, coming from a dark night of the soul, but really coming into their power. Like they decided, this person, has decided, you've decided to use the tower as your foundation for your spiritual fire. You're starting to see the power in the tower. Like I was saying, you are starting to see the power in the tower. And you're starting to use those moments as tools. He's straight sitting on a throne, living in a living tree. that used to tower, you know, high in the sky, but now it is his throne. All right, I'm excited. So let's shuffle the cards and see about getting the next message here. I want to make sure that my elbows or everything is not going to get in the way here. Okay, squirrel on point, right? Okay. All right. Thank you, angels. Thank you, spirit guides. Thank you, spirit. Thank you, universe, the elementals, fairies, the moon, the sun, my archangels, Archangel Michael, my ancestors of the light, higher dimensional beings of the higher consciousness realms, and the dragons. Let's invite all of my spirit team in at the moment to give us this message. Thank you. Okay. So I really love these cards, and already starting off with the Queen of Cups, or at least I noticed that card. All right, so I would like to get a clear message about the energy regarding this this King of Staffs, this what is the message for someone that has just now or maybe going through or coming out of this dark night of the soul, but is realizing the power behind the tower moment that they've just experienced, or maybe have been experiencing, like myself. Whoop. Okay, see. All right, so back into the energy of this King of Staffs, coming from dark night of the soul, but realizing how much power. That was too many cards, but you know. Okay, so we're going to go with it because my guides do this a lot. My, kind of messy, but I don't believe that it's messy. I always seem that it's super synchronistic, exactly how it happens every time. So we're going to go with that. And let me just tune in for a moment while I take a look at this. Okay, so we have, how this came out was the star. So, the star. She's got two oh my gosh. Okay, so this is really cool. So she's got, first of all, she's got two jugs of water that she's pouring into the stream. And there are these blue butterflies. It looks like blue butterflies up around this main star in the middle of the sky. And for me, I don't know why, right now I'm hearing like that's the brightest star in the sky, right? Venus, which is the, you know, the planet of love. And there is 1, 2, 5 other stars around it, and another butterfly, magical looking butterfly. This is a moon garden. Then there's a lily, I believe, or a lotus right here in the water. which is signifying to me, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Enlightenment. But, yeah. Okay, so getting into the star. And this is a major arcana card, which is an archetype. So, let's see. The star is here. Okay. So, the star is the guiding light of the tarot. So what a good energy to be. Okay, so let me just get into this. The star is the guiding light of the tarot. It is the scintilla of inception, conception, and birth. This is the wish card, one of dreams come true. Look to the stars. Astrological factors may forecast upcoming events or determine the outcome of current ambitions. To the seeker with artistic aspirations, it is a card of both inspiration and fulfillment. It sparks with creative potential. It sparkles with creative potential. But it is also sparking creative potential. The pathway opens to achievement in the illumination of innate talent, knowledge, and ability. So what I'm getting with that, so the pathway opens to achievement in the illumination of innate talent, knowledge, and ability. So, like I said, whoever this reading is about, whoever's watching this, you are realizing after going through this tower, like I said, your power, your innate power, which is very, very big. The negative attribute of the 17th key to the tarot is extreme idealism. So, the pursuit of this dark star will result in rigidity. Life perpetually falls short of expectations and is devoid of satisfaction. The 17th key of the tarot sets the stage for a celestial celebration. The major arcana begins to close the first circle of the spiral dance. So, interesting. Okay. So I'm just going with the way that I feel, and I haven't read this all the way through, but this is already going into this card because it was talking about the circling the cone ceremony, about, circling the cone, and I guess I can go back into that if I'm feeling that necessary. So it says, begins to close the first circle of the spiral dance. So I am going to go into that because the spiral dance was talking about, so it's right here. It is in raising the cone of power that our everyday lives are transformed through magic, through rites that include chanting, drumming, and dancing. We entertain and align our energies and intent in circle magic. Our vibrations are raised to a transformative level of energy that hovers above that of physical matter, allowing us to shift and shape that matter at will. As witches dance their prayers, drums and voices reach a fevered pitch. Hair stands on end, and each magician feels the power surging up through their feet to pulse as though connected to one visceral organ. At this peak, the staff is thrust upward into the cone, dispersing its energy into the universe. Those who have participated in a cone zone will attest to the seemingly miraculous events that weave through the microcosm of their personal lives in this offing. Macrocosm goals involving planetary and human conditions require a persistent application of this power. The wounding from our abandonment of spirit and nature will soon heal in the loving ministrations of the god and goddess. Most circle gatherings focus on the collective prayer for those entities, including the earth, who suffer from hunger or abuse. The cone of power may be visually invoked. Sit quietly in a dark room, focusing on the rhythm of your breath until you feel it match the beat of your heart. Imagine a spark of blue light issuing forth with each breath until a small ball of light begins to circle above your head. Attune your intent with the light and the rhythm of your breath. It will begin to increase in intensity and velocity as its circles narrow in their upward spiral. When you feel the first prickles of goose flesh tickling your skin, stand up, and as you raise your arms to open the apex of the cone, with your right index finger, shout out your intention. You may find music with repetitive chants, percussive rhythms, or beating on your own drum a helpful aid in this ritual. It is the visual representation of this cone of power that gave rise to the notion of the peaked hat of the witch. So back to the star card following that, right? So the star is both the center of the universe and an integral, I can't say that right. I know I'm not saying that right. Integral component in the pattern of the constellation. The heavenly bodies in this The heavenly body. Okay, let me collect my mind really quick because I'm going way ahead of myself inside my mind. So let me just bring it back. Okay. Whew. The 17th key of the tarot sets the stage for a celestial celebration as the major arcana begins to close the first circle of the spiral dance. 7 sisters, halo, the brilliance of the star, attraction on center stage. Let me read that again. 7 sisters, halo, the brilliance of the star, attraction on center stage. The 8 points of this stellar eminence light the sky with resonant light. The star is both the center of the universe and an integral component in the pattern of the constellation. I'm picking up major 7 sisters, and I told you guys that I was going to get into that, but I have a little information, enough I think, but we're just gonna, this is okay. The heavenly bodies in this entourage converge in their own inspired choreography. From the ferns and flowerings of the garden, butterflies sparkle in blue against the dark of night. In an endless cycle, a water sylph returns the water to the wellspring she has drawn in her earthen urn. Behind her fluid form, hang on. Behind her fluid form, a young ash tree stretches its bare limbs into the starry vault above. Okay, and it's crazy because I want to say that the ash tree is the same symbol represented in the King of Staffs throne. Okay? And she too is in a dark night. But she's shining. What did it say here? It said, in an endless cycle, a water sylph returns the water to the wellspring she has drawn in her earthen urn. Behind her fluid form, a young ash tree stretches its bare limbs into the starry vault above. So, coming from the last few months, I don't know if you've had an urge to fast more, or maybe your diet has changed, and you're realizing that you're getting filled up more from spirit than you have ever in the past, and maybe you're tuning into that a lot more. Maybe this dark night forced you to realize a lot about your this is definitely a dark night. So like I said about that, it does feel very dark. But just know that you are coming out on the other side of this, okay? You're coming out on the other side of this. The universe is working in your favor. The alignments, the constellations are divine timing for you, for what is coming up. You have to trust the process. So, originally it was talking about the spiral. Okay, so I don't know if this is significant, but I'm finding it is significant. But I don't know for this reading specifically. So the spiral up here, I don't know if you know anything about the 7 star sisters. About, there's a lot of legends around the world actually that talk about this. I know there's a Native American legend. I think even there's so many different legends about this. The other night I spoke about the seven fires, a Native American legend that I believe has a lot to do with these rising stars that are starting to realize their power. I just want you to understand that going through the dark night is not a bad thing. It's a spiritual necessary process that we go through. And if you've experienced this, and I'm with the energies that we have surrounding us right now, with the equinox, with these eclipses, the being that we just came out of it, the full moon, all of this is super significant. And even further than that, the alignment with the galactic center of the Milky Way, there's like this massive trifecta going on of celestial magic. Okay. Okay. And each of you are coming into your own power in your own beautiful divine way. The ash tree is not looking at the mushrooms, and you know what I mean, like that kind of energy. It's like as beings of Mother Earth, God and Mother Earth don't look at their creations and look at any of them with less love, I don't think, than the others. You know what I mean? So now moving into the Moon card, which is also interesting. So with being in between in this eclipse canal is what I'm going to call it, because that's exactly how it feels, like this energy this flow between these two celestial events that are and always have been considered either auspicious or magical, depending on where you're depending on your perspective is the bottom line. Just pretend, just uh yeah, just based on your perspective. Okay, so with all of this energy, like I keep mentioning, with the equinox being that, it's, kind of like an equal, it's representing an equal energy, but also that the sun is making a longer appearance in our day-to-day lives, in that it is expended daytime, basically. So, in the wintertime, we spend a lot of time in reflection for this reason. That is why, in winter, a lot of animals naturally go through a moment of, recalibration, rest, reflection. We are part of nature as well, and I believe that's part of what winter is designed for. And going through my own journey, I'm connecting with that a lot more, as especially this last year around Christmas, there are other things to celebrate around those holidays that do offer a lot of our mainstream ideas for why these holidays are in our life. But essentially, it all boils down to the cycles of life and the seasons of the planet and things like that. So this winter, I really got, I did some deep diving, this fall, this winter, this summer, last summer, and now I'm in spring. Last spring, I was planting a lot of new seeds, and it really, they changed my life. They literally changed my life. Things did not unfold exactly how I thought they would, and that's where I learned to let go of expectations, and really started to do even more diving with all of the logical information I knew about how the mind works and how all of this manifestation works and how mastering your emotions works and knowing thyself works. It took me going through my own dark night of the soul, feeling very, very alone. I went to Maui last summer to change my life and go on a life-changing adventure. Before I got there, did I know the life-changing events and the adventure that I was really going to go on, how that was going to go? No. Did I expect it was going to turn out the way it did? Hell the fuck no. But did it change my life entirely? Oh yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did. So I won't get into that right now. Maybe I will feel called more to go into that eventually. Oopsies. Okay. All right, so, it's an endless cycle. In an endless cycle, the water sylph returns the water to the wellspring she has drawn in her earthen urn. Behind her fluid form, a young ash tree stretches its bare limbs into the starry vault above. So there's a lot, like I mentioned, in this time of reflection and in this time of this dark night, you've opened up your crown. You've allowed a lot of, or at least if you're in a dark night of the soul currently and you're trying to find a way out of the dark, just know that you have this salamander, you have the light within you to get through this dark night, and and alive, and in a magical way, and in a very powerful way, the king of your reality, basically. And you have a lot of support, a lot of angels, a lot of celestial, this is giving me blue avian because of the blue, and the them flying and everything like that. That's coming in major as well. And this star is also outlined, and all of these stars, and also these blue butterflies have a lot of purple in them, which represents the highest form of higher dimensional, access, basically. If you look at the chakras, the crown chakra is purple, and it also looks like it's rooted in this very magical way with these magical mushrooms that are coexisting with this ash tree, right? And this tree is acting as an antenna, to send out and receive more information as it's grounded into the earth, just like the King of Staffs, okay? And that's a very important tool. Maybe you are needing more ways to feel grounded as well in this time, and nature is definitely going to be your best friend. Going out in nature, connecting with all of the things around you, the elementals, the stars, the trees, the ferns, and the lotus. You know what I mean? I want to say that's a lotus, but it might also, that might also be like a lily, like, or something like that. But just with everything around you, when you go outside, and you're really having a hard time, especially right now, these are perfect times, especially if you're going through this dark night of the soul, you're still in it, or there are still layers of it that need to be released. Using the power of these types of elements will help you. By being in a state of gratitude, that's the fastest way to raise your vibration as well. Like, I'm grateful to have gone through the things that I went through in my life, because they've made me the person that I am today. And with the true understanding of myself and how and how, the certain things that have gone on in my life have shaped me into a better person, instead of using that and feeling like a victim. And a lot of you empaths, a lot of you people who feel like, why am I always going through, not really like woe is me, but like this happens a lot to me, like I feel like I'm always shedding, thank you for that, because it actually does something a lot larger than you even realize. Maybe you do realize, and that's why you're on this journey. You're allowing it to happen, which is perfect. All right, so moving into the moon, this is also another major arcana, and it actually follows the star card in the major arcana, which is giving me a progressive energy. A progressive energy going into this crossing this bridge from one tower to the next, with the cycles of the moon. So let's see, I wrote some things down. Where do I have my books? I have so many notebooks. I'm going to see, this might be it. No, it's going to be in this book. Okay. So this seems like a prevalent time for me to bring this up. So it takes 27.3 days to make a complete orbit around the Earth. This is the moon cycles, okay? And this very much has a lot to do with that. The moon cycles, okay? It takes 27.3 days to make a complete orbit around the Earth. But because the Earth is moving around the sun at the same time, it takes the moon 29 and a half days, or 29.5 days. As the moon moves around Earth, the amount of illumination it receives from the sun changes, creating the lunar phases. Okay, so let me read that again. As the moon moves around the Earth, the amount of illumination it receives from the sun creates the lunar phases, okay? So this is giving me, we'll just do this because it was a full moon recently. When sunlight illuminates only the moon's near side, the Earth's side that always faces Earth, we call that a full moon, okay? This looks like it's giving moon phases, the moon in general. And so when sunlight illuminates only the moon's near side, the Earth's side that always faces Earth, we call that a full moon. Okay? The rest of the month, we see a different amount of the daytime side of the moon each day. These continually changing views of the sunlit part of the moon are the moon phases. Okay? So we just came out of a full moon. And we're moving into the next 3 phases of the moon. You know what's funny is I thought I wrote something about the new moon right there, but I think I wrote it in this book. Okay. Well, now that I've read that, I'm feeling more inclined, not more inclined, but more guided to talk about the solar eclipse that's coming up. Because this is all relative for a reason, you know. Let me just first of all read about the moon card before I get ahead of myself. So the moon. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. The 18th key of the tarot is the most enigmatic. Hidden influences and veiled mysteries hide in its shadows. The call of these secrets may engender nostalgia, sentimentality, and even melancholy as they yearn to enter the light of consciousness. Okay, so as we move up to the solar eclipse here on April 8th, 2024, as we move into the sun, basically, as the shadows move into the sunlight, you know, you may be feeling like a little melancholy and a little sentimental and you know, some sort of nostalgia, which is meant to be that way because you're you know, meant to bring the shadows, things that need to be brought to light, you know. So it says, as they yearn to enter the light of consciousness, because they do, your shadows do yearn to be brought to light. They are the parts of you that you've denied through your own conditioning, not your own personal conditioning, but now it is up to yourself. Okay, so this unconscious content may induce moodiness and with it, the possibility of insomnia. When these emotions crest, which is interesting because there's a crescent moon here. And the crescent moon happens twice in the cycle. There's the waning and the waxing. Okay. So before leading up to, so the crescent moon, oh shoot, I wrote this down. I just want to get this accurate, so you know, like I want to make sure, and I'm learning myself. So it goes After the full moon comes the waning crescent. So the waning crescent. So leading up to the full moon is the waning crescent. Leading up to the new moon is a waning crescent moon, okay? And that is leading up to this solar eclipse as well, the waning crescent moon, okay? And there are 2 crescent moons here that are leading up to this card. So, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. This is gonna be really good. Trust in the process. Okay, thank you for being here and for allowing me to share what I need to share with you. I work with people's spirit guides, or people's spirit guides work through me because I have such a clear channel with people's higher selves, and this journey that we're all on is very heightened at this moment because of said celestial alignments. So I have been called to step up and to be a guiding light for those who are going through this process and may have no idea. So if you are watching this, it's for a reason. You are being called to step through these shadows and come out with a loving, a loving understanding of your journey. Okay, so I really I send out my love for the things that you may have gone through and experienced in your life, and the even more heightened, intense experiences you may be going through at the time right now when you're watching this video. Bless you, and thank you for choosing to show up where you are and use the tools that the universe gives you, which is everything. So I just felt like I needed to say that. Okay, so this unconscious content may induce moodiness, and with it the possibility of insomnia. So I find that those types of things are really important to know when you're going through what we're going through with the solar eclipse. Most people don't understand why these old feelings are surfacing, why these old, traumas that they thought they've worked through are resurfacing. It's because there's another layer. It's an opportunity to purge more layers of it and let it go. And so whatever's coming up for you right now, you're supposed to feel it. You're supposed to dive into it, and you're supposed to use the amplified energy of the celestial events going on in the cosmos, and everything that's going on with Mother Earth. It's spring, all of the seeds that you may have planted over during winter that you've been reflecting on, or I'm hoping that you have been reflecting on, are starting to come through the mud. You know what I mean? They're starting to show buds. When these emotions crest, they will leave many tears in their wake, though not all will be shed in sadness. Every face of the goddess shines forth in the silvery light of the moon. It mirrors the golden solar flare of the sun. Hang on. I said solar flare, which is interesting because that might be a heads up, because we are experiencing a lot of solar flares right now, a lot of geomagnetic storms, a lot of X class, M class, KP index type serious things going on with the sun right now. The sun is going through its 25th solar maximum. So the sun is going through its evolution, and the planet is going through its evolution, and we're going through our evolution, and we're lining up with the galactic center of the Milky Way. So these are huge, exciting things that you guys should be excited about, that we're getting an opportunity to purge the things that no longer serve us, push it to the fucking, the light, and let it go. you know, and that takes a lot of courage. It takes so much courage. Oh my gosh, does that take so much courage? Every face of the goddess shines forth in the silvery light of the moon. It mirrors the golden solar fire of the soul in the reflection of the feminine qualities of intuition, sensitivity, and fosterage. An introduction to the occult, or an in-depth study for the adept, along with the awakening of or refinement of psychic abilities. Are predestined for the seeker. Okay, an introduction to the occult or an in-depth study for the adept, along with the awakening of refinement of psychic abilities, are predestined for the seeker. Beware of those who linger too long on the dark side, for they may lose their perspective. Reality becomes distorted by fantasy and imagination, or by the more sinister aspects of power. At its darkest, this card may hint of deception or an invitation of privacy. Okay, so I'm going to touch on a couple of things there because it's very important. That there was a warning in the beginning to be very conscious about overindulgence with the King of Staffs, okay? And there was also like a little warning to be kind of not pompous, okay? Basically, you know your regal royalty, but of an earthly and celestial essence that can never be taken from you, but doesn't need to be boasted about. You know what I mean? And your connection here with the star, it's okay. There may be a little bit of an imposter syndrome, and there may be parts of you that feel, just don't get too far ahead of yourself, okay? Just know that you have to come out of the darkness. Know that staying in the darkness is not gonna help you. Think of Star Wars, okay? But as a light worker myself, I know that you have to go through the darkness, and know that you will come out of this darkness on the other side, okay? But just be aware of those parts of things, because especially having this heads up with the eclipse and everything, with just having come out of the equinox energy and the full moon that was triple amplified because of the eclipse. So there's a lot of threes going on with the energies right now. A lot of like just a Russian doll of energies that are happening, as above, so below, so within, so without. It's very, very, very like that right now. Kaleidoscope to the max, okay? All right, so two faces, one dark and one light. So again, talking about, and this card was brought to the floor. This is really important. The two faces, one dark, one light, peer out of the night, waxing dark to light, and waning back the integrating. Hang on. All right. I just want to get this interpretation down, waning. Okay, so the moon is going through the same thing almost that we're yeah, that's cool. Like okay, so what does it say here? It says waxing dark to light and waning back. Waxing dark to light, waxing dark to light. And waning back the The integrating cycle of the Tao Te Ching appears in abstraction in these celestial faces. The balance weighs in the dark mysteries of the feminine. And that's a huge thing that's going on too with this solar eclipse, is the feminine, the divine feminine. The divine feminine, has been brought up a lot with the energies that are being brought forth with the eclipse. I don't think it's in here. Yeah. And it says, for eons, the divine feminine has been suppressed, distorted, and often disregarded within patriarchal societies. So, because we're talking about this, now I am feeling called. I think this was the reason. So the shadows of the moon. The shadow of the moon reveals the deepest truths, though they are long in coming to the light of understanding by day. A tear of sorrow or joy traces emotion on the cheek of the bright crest's profile. From under the white-capped waves, a crawfish emerges to meet the twin gaze. Oh. A road winds before it, from the sandy shore to the valley of the mountains in the distance. On either side, the white towers of a castle rise to meet the luminaries in the sky. An instinctual call of the wild ascends with them, announcing entry to an unknown kingdom. So this is very much talking about the chosen ones, that I believe this is talking about a chosen one. Maybe this is the first time you've been going through this dark night. Maybe this isn't the first time. Maybe this feels like, what the fuck, now that you're going through it this time, because you've been through it so many times and you thought you've healed through it. But I'm here to tell you that if you feel any type of way about this reading, if you feel a resonance to this reading, certain parts of this reading, all of it, whatever it is for you, you will know how it resonates for you. And I implore people to understand how things resonate for them. They will know for you to get in touch with your intuition a little bit more, so that you can discern for yourself. But I'm seeing someone who is rising to the occasion, rising to your mission, bringing the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and the the cycles of that into polarity, which is really awesome. An instinctual call of the wild ascends with them, announcing entry to an unknown kingdom. Kingdom of God, the kingdom of all, the kingdom of yourself. So this eclipse is providing us a rare opportunity for spiritual growth and development if we open up ourselves to receive its beneficial energies and lessons. A solar eclipse happens, or it only occurs when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, totally or partially. In this case, I believe we're having a total solar eclipse. It's going to be for 4 minutes. And 4 is a huge deal to me. Find that this eclipse is very foundation based. It's like I feel like this is the new earth that we're birthing right now. There was a lot of stuff in the geomagnetic storm that related to all 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, being like of equal measure. Then also we have the solar eclipse, and it's going to be for 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes. 4 is very much like foundational, like 4, but I also get the 4 directions, the 4 elements, the 4 angels, the 4 archangels of the 4 directions. Totally. Okay, so so this alignment holds deep symbolic meaning and has been known by ancient cultures around the world to spur changes in our lives. During eclipse, the veil between worlds are thin as dark cosmic forces draw nearer. a time to reflect inward and release what no longer serves you, your higher self, and attune to life's deeper purpose. So you are being called to attune to your life's deeper purpose, whatever that is for you. Spiritual traditions teach that an eclipse is a time for personal transformation, empowers us to reshape old patterns into new, enlightened phases of experience. So this eclipse is also bringing, and eclipses generally bring gifts, profound gifts, and in this case, profound shifts. Okay. I use my hands a lot, and I saw this silly little video recently about some girl. I don't even know who the fuck she was, but I've been recently off social media. But I use my hands a lot, and I don't mean that by any negative or sinister occult reason. I saw that she said that would implore something like a certain secret society to contact you, and that is fucking by no means what I'm trying to do. So I just find myself keep doing that. So I just, in case somebody else was noticing that. 12:22 on the clock. Okay, so profound gifts, profound shifts. And these may be secrets, and that's maybe why maybe I was involved in a secret society in my past life. I don't fucking know. Profound gifts. This eclipse may spark for those willing, okay. This eclipse may spark for those willing to accept this transformation. Profound gifts and profound shifts. It's very important that if you are on this journey to this new world and the journey to self-discovery and of unconditional love, and you are aware of how much that is necessary in our planet right now, really do the work for yourself. This is a gift from the universe, an opportunity to purge layers and layers of things. For me personally, I've done a lot of ancestral healing. Allowed it to use me as an avenue for release to heal my lineage, my bloodline. So, prepare spiritually for April 8th. A celestial phenomenon, a powerful gateway, a cosmic portal that will open up to allow higher dimensional energies and frequencies to penetrate our earthly realm. It's an influx of divine light and cosmic codes, has a potential to catapult and catalyze a massive shift in human awareness or human consciousness, accelerating our spiritual awakening and evolution as a species, creating a moment of darkness in the middle of the day. The universe aligns in perfect celestial symmetry, and energies from the higher realms are able to flow. Deep spiritual currents can be felt by those who are attuned. Leading up to the event, increased intuitive awareness, vivid dreams, kundalini awakenings, or an overall feeling of energy flux as you are being recalibrated to the incoming light frequencies. The eclipse is providing a gateway for activating our DNA strands, triggering awakenings, clearing blockages, downloading new templates of consciousness from the cosmic source, the universe source. So no, that was downloading new templates of consciousness from the cosmic service, which is source, the universe. There is a potent eclipse window. This is a potent eclipse window. So spend time meditating, prayer, and or sacred ceremony. So, I've done a couple things like that. I'm finding that it's a lot of fun to be in that mystical realm of childlike wonder for the divine right now. It is so I was listening to something the other night as I was sitting out watching looking at Venus, actually, the star. And I was trying to connect to the 7 star sisters. And this is so beautiful when it happens this way. So I was sitting outside and I was looking up at Venus, and I was listening to, I believe, it was Isis. It was the essence of Isis. And I love listening to this type of thing, but I was listening to that, and it was a very, the music made me feel like I was in the pyramid, and I was like, like those belly dancers, but it was more than just like a belly dance. You know what I mean? It was like very ceremonial. It was very beautiful. I felt very seductive, and I felt very exotic, and I felt like amazing. And then I zoomed outside of that temple, and it was the Great Pyramid that I was in, and I zoomed out, and all of a sudden I'm in what felt like, okay, so I see the Sphinx, and then all of a sudden I get this image of me being Sekhmet, and I'm sitting in this, like, those thrones that they would carry, Egyptian pharaohs through the, in procession to the temple. That's how I felt. And it was so fucking cool. So those types of things can really bring in can help you bring in this higher consciousness that's trying to evolve us. For me, a lot of ancient Egyptian deities, gods, and goddesses come to me and share their knowledge with me, and I am so blessed for that. So blessed for that. Specifically, Hathor, Isis, Sekhmet, Basset, Thoth. Man, Thoth a lot. I get a lot. I get a lot of gods, a lot of them. I don't call them out. I don't usually ask for their assistance. I find it synchronistic that they are assisting me because of the types of things that I'm learning, that the all of it. It's all connected. Holy shit, it's an hour and 41 minutes. 1:44 on the clock. Wow. Okay. So if you're still here, there's very much a lot to be said here. Going into this solar eclipse. Okay. Just know that you may experience rapid healing even. Receive incredible downloads of higher wisdom. You may be granted a glimpse into the wider universe and your role within the cosmic plan. Profound insights and epiphanies as the eclipse cracks you open to new levels of truth and understanding. So you may be going through a lot of synchronicities in your life. Trust them. These are ways that you can connect with your intuition and trust yourself better, because if you've gone through any abandonment issues like I have in my life that I've since healed, these are ways that you can look at that. Okay? So moving to the next phase of this reading, which is the Knight of Cups, okay? And he looks like he's taking what he's learned and he's riding off to the moon with it. Look, that's like giving me Pegasus energy. I am going to... sorry about that. I was brimming at the rim. Okay, moving into the Knight of Cups. There's 4 stars surround this crescent moon energy. He's got his cup in his hand. Steady. There's a rainbow of color in this as well. And he's on a Pegasus. He's on a flying horse. He's on Pegasus with his blue feather. All right, let's get into it. I didn't choose any music today. I've been fighting myself and not having, I've just been not really, okay, so I love to read and I love information. I can fill up on information all the time, but then I've been finding recently that it's not fulfilling because I'm not sharing it. And so I'm really trying to get past that. All right, so Knight of Cups. Sorry, my boyfriend just texted me. Okay, Knight of Cups. Confident and comfortable with himself, this knight is often found in pursuit of a higher goal, pursuing but not driven. He is more idealistic than practical. While material gain is not his aim, with his ability to see the broader view in any issue, he is certain to succeed in both celestial and temporal realms. Rather than take a rigid stand, he is more likely to reach for an amicable approach or solution for opposing factions. The Knight of Cups is on a quest. He is not the crusading champion of other legends. And ladies need know their hearts must wait, for his eyes, they will never shine brighter than his grail. This man is often found within a few miles of his birthplace. If he should marry, it will be a conventional lifestyle he seeks. I really love this card because I'm getting this is a divine masculine who is going through a major dark night of the soul. And it's very beautiful to witness. Green seas and gold beaches singing a welcome. The Knight of Cups returns with the sacred chalice in hand. His quest is complete. The broad, bright wings of his spirited mount have borne this Galahad far across the oceans, and their lands to countries exotic and new. But this landscape was always in his heart, and it has called him home. He's riding away into the dark night with all the trust of the stars and the sun and the moon, because the sun is still involved with the moon. It's the reflection of the sun that gives the moon illumination, and the phases of it around our earth, the phases of what the earth experiences. For those of people who don't understand and don't realize how much that the celestial alignments and cosmic events truly do affect us, clearly by the description I just gave here. Okay. Okay. So, you know, you may be someone, especially if you're a divine masculine, especially if you maybe have been activated recently by events in your life, or just by even these events in your life, divine timing. Okay. Let me just get into this card. So, with an innocent smile and a twinkle that hints of laughter in the eye, the Page of Cups hides imagination and humor in a quiet countenance. This youth is often found lost in thought or in the pages of a book. Her reflective moods provide creative solutions and insights worthy of many years. The seeker will find her presence both comforting and stimulating. In its darkest aspect, this card may reflect a lack of sincerity surrounding the seeker, either in his or her own actions or those of another in regard to him or her. Do not be distracted or seduced by this insecurity. So, okay. So I'm starting to catch on to the fact that there are this book is giving us darkest and light kind of aspects of each card, like the reversals and stuff like that. I wasn't reading reversals, so I didn't even pay attention, and I believe, yeah, they all came out together anyways. So so I don't think there's anything to worry about, but we'll read it anyways because we're gonna see both sides of the situation here. So there may be a divine masculine who has a divine feminine, maybe their divine counterpart, um, you know, that you find her presence comforting and stimulating. Maybe you've been activated by a divine feminine, and you're being guided to this imagination and more humor in your life. But also just be aware that this card may reflect a lack of sincerity surrounding the seeker. So there might be some deceit surrounding you. Not to give you any alarm, most of you who are watching this are already aware of what I'm talking about, and you'll know exactly what I mean when how that resonates for you. Either in his or her own actions or those of another in regard to him or her. So maybe there's, somebody in your life, do not be distracted or seduced by this insincerity. So be very hypervigilant with your own emotional intuition and discernment, and just be aware. Do not be distracted or seduced, because as a chosen one, as someone who is chosen or has chosen themselves to be of service in some way, whether they're conscious of it fully or not yet, there are entities, if you will, sent here to stand in the way of that, and by no means are we going to let that happen. An elfin princess lights upon an orange cushioned mushroom cap. She settled there with a horn of golden fairy draught, a nectar in her cup to sip, and in the pink moonlight she and the purple porpoise of sea nymphs and dragons converse. What tales do they tell with delight? So, on the night or the day of the eclipse, I am going to suggest some really sweet things to do. And there is a ritual here for this specifically, and I I love doing these kinds of things, and I'm just going to get into the ritual. Brew a cup of peppermint tea and read your favorite fairy tale out loud. If you do not recall a treasured tale from your childhood, ask friends for suggestions or go browsing in a library or a bookstore. Once you have read the old favorite, reflect on any parallels or influences it may have had in your life. In an in-depth examination, you may be surprised at what archetypes they have claimed you from the pages. Were any childhood dreams unlocked, or were any nighttime fears drug from under the bed? In making a new acquaintance with enchantment, does the wisdom hang on? In making a new acquaintance with enchantment, does the wisdom woven through the parable parallel your life? Does it stir an unvoiced desire? Do any of the lives in your circle of friends mirror these allegorical journeys? Do you recognize any tarot symbolism in the lines? So, because I watched this, okay, like I said, I started to go through these cards when I first got them. I read a couple of things. I read some of the cards, and one of the things that I read was this card. I pulled this card for myself, and I started to watch two different Disney movies over the last couple nights. I've watched 12:44 on the clock. I've watched Aladdin. I fell asleep to it, made it halfway through, then I watched it again the next night, and I fell asleep again, and then I watched the tail end of it last night, and then I watched Thumbelina. So, and I've been drinking a lot of tea. I love tea. This is one of the blends that I made. I've actually pretty much used a lot of the things that I make medicinally or in ways that I've used that have become helpful for me, like salt baths, jewelry, you know what I mean? Like everything I do in my life is to help me stay in connection with myself. And honestly, before I really knew what all of this was happening for, and there is a little white feather falling from the sky right here outside of my window, fluffy white feather. So anyways, these are all ways that I have found help me ground as a Libra, as an air sign, and as someone who's always been in the dreamy realms of life. My fragmented self has been frolicking in the astral plane of magic, and for many times, anyways, so I need a lot of things like tea that connects you to Mother Earth, and there's also lots of medicinal reasons for using it. There's also a lot of spiritual reasons for using them, and I will use them in my bath. I will use them as incense. I will use them in satchels for sleep, dream pillows, basically, all of that stuff. There's, I'm finding a cute little book here because a lot of people think that this is witchcraft, and if for someone who isn't like identifying as that, which I don't myself, I connect to nature. I connect to nature, the cycles of everything that I'm connected to. That's the divine, that's the universe, that's all, that's Mother Nature, that's the moon, the sun, the stars. Just like our ancestors have in the past. Whether or not you want to label it, it's up to you. I do not. So this is one of the books that I absolutely love, talking about, sachets and stuff, herbal treasures. So I'm going to see what we're in right now and see if there's something that we can use right now. March seems to have a lot. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is perfect. Oh my gosh, March is large. Okay. So we're just going to read what March says, because we're moving into March, or we're in March. But I know that there are, wow, there's so much in this book. So, okay. So for March, now that our heads are full of exciting new projects relating to herbal health and beauty, everlasting romance, and the charm of yesteryear, it's time to get back to earth and down to the basics. The herbs in our gardens, the plants we live, work, and play with on a daily basis. Spirits are raised at the earliest hints of spring, and on the first pleasant days we will be outside again, clearing up the beds and plotting out new gardens, or at least spaces for new herbs. And you can look at this in your astral garden as well, or your moon garden. It is also the 0 hour to order the seeds or plants of the new or different herbs we want to try this year if we didn't do it on January 2nd. Which is interesting because in our mainstream society, we celebrate New Year's, and a lot of people actually do set their intentions for their new years, which, you know, there is a purpose to planting your seeds in the wintertime to come into spring, so that's not a bad thing to do. But our true new year, our true astrological new year, is on April 1st, or the entering of, I think it's the first new moon after the I may be wrong about that, but I'm getting something about that. It's the first like new moon after the Aries cycle, which we have in Aries, which might actually already have been with the equinox. Anyways, so if you live in the snow belt and did your hoe work last fall, any new beds will have been dug up, then the soil will have been tested and corrected for pH level, and the necessary lime and loam, compost and ashes will have been hoed and rototilled in to benefit from the winter snows. And now, after one or two more tillings or hoeings, as soon as the soil can be worked, and the addition of any needed fertilization, there is nothing left to do but the fun part, planting the herbs. However, if you're like most of us, you did not spend last November preparing new beds, so you will start digging them up as soon as the soil is not heavy, or is not too heavy, and then keep working up the soil and adding nutrients and fillers for the next 2 months. So this is fucking so synchronistic, and this is what I love about being a open channel for spirit, because I find that every message that I follow my intuition on is perfectly prevalent. Okay, look at that spiritually. Okay, so however, if you're not like most of us, you did not spend last November preparing new beds, and that is about since the time, like, I've been on this cycle of life now, this, you know, awareness of these cycles of life now pretty heavily since this last fall, since this last summer, this last summer solstice specifically. Okay, all right, so last November, preparing new beds, so you will start digging them up. You did not spend last November preparing new beds, so you will start digging them up as soon as the soil is not heavy, too heavy. All right, sorry, I had to step away for a moment. We've been purging a lot here, okay? So just keep working up the soil and adding nutrients and fillers for the next 2 months. In this chapter, you may contemplate simple to sublime garden designs. In addition, the February chapter contains some Victorian garden plans. Okay, so that's just part of this book. So many excellent sources of herbs. The pleasure of herbs. Many excellent sources of herbs, herb plants, and seeds are listed in the appendix. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. So it says you should have catalogs from each source in your herb library, for most offer hundreds of varieties of herbs and exciting new plants, and many are informative reference guides. So take that as another sign to pay attention to the signs around you, the symbols and signs around you, the nature things that come to you, the birds, the bees, literally the feathers, certain plants even that are surrounded around you that you've never really tuned into before, like and even the shrubs around you in your local neighborhood if you live in the city or in a suburb area. I find that when I do that, I'm freaking like, whoa, wait a minute, that is what that means, and that's what's been right under my face this whole time, this whole time. You know what I mean? So yeah, so use, and I'm also using this as a metaphor, as like, use the things that are being led to you, like my my channel, basically, not just me, but like things, if you're still watching this video, things synchronistically for you in your life. It says new and different herbs that we have recently grown and enjoyed, followed by several in-depth articles from excerpts about some new herbs to Americans, some newly developed varieties, and some old but forgotten. So I'm taking this herbs as like gifts, as like ways of life. Take this, old forgotten herbs that have been rediscovered, hundreds of varieties of herbs that are out there awaiting your acquaintance and delight. There are so many of you that are going through this massive transformation right now as a collective. You light workers, you star seeds. You star seeds. Okay, you are supported celestially. You might be not really understanding what the heck this all means. You were planted in the darkness like on purpose. But people didn't know that you were a seed and that you were going to flourish. The moon garden. Let your garden flourish. There are things inside of you that are waiting to be woken, that the universe, this planet, needs to get back in alignment, to get Mother Earth back in alignment, and all of her creatures, including you and me. Okay? So take time to, landscape your life. Okay? In this case it says landscape your property with herbs. Depends upon your climate, terrain, space, exposure to the sun, and soil consistency, as well as your own needs and interests. So take that like metaphorically, right? So, take time to look at your cycle that you're in. What is your season? Is it winter? Is it spring? Is it summer? Is it fall? Where are you? Are you at the top of the mountain, or are you at the edge of the cliff? Like, what is it? Where are you? What is your space? What is the cage that you're surrounded in? What is your what does your space look like? What's your exposure to the sun? How often do you meditate or actually consciously connect with the sun? Or where is the joy coming from your life? How is your soil? How is your foundation? Have you been fertilizing yourself? Have you been giving yourself love, self-love? The things that you are seeking outside of yourself, are you giving yourself those? Are you nurturing your soil? As well as your own needs and interests. Are you nurturing what your needs are? Not what Billy or Regina, or your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or whoever, because you cannot fill up their cup unless you fill up your own. And you got to fill up on the divine's cup equally with yours. You got to you know what I mean? You got to know that you are that is your cup, and that's how you can fill up their cup. And then start planning. Start planning for your new phase of life. Start planning for the things that you want to manifest into your life. Learn about the different plants that you want to grow. Learn about the different heights and widths of the individual plants at maturity. The best seed plant catalogs will give you this information. So, you know what I mean? Really know what it's going to take to ground in this idea, plant this seed. You know, what does that mean? Okay. So, like, for me, you know, I know that I am planted right now for a reason. I know that coming on the other side of this eclipse is going to be more clear for me and maybe you as well. I think this is a great time to just embrace what's going on the day to day leading up until the eclipse and in between these two energies. You know, so what does that mean when I say, you know the heights, widths, and the depths of what it is that you're trying to manifest and that you're trying to bring in? Because you have to embody it. So you have to understand, you know, for me, I want to travel, or I want to be able to be stationed somewhere far off of the beaten path. You know, ideally, I would love to be in a forest, jungle, beach area, just focusing on the day to day and having this deeper connection between me and source, between me and Mother Nature and the land. That is ultimately how I wish to bring in. And so what I'm being forced to realize in my own life is what is it that I find dear to myself? What do I no longer find joy within? And am I ready to let it go to bring in this you know, this prosperity of abundance that Mother Earth provides us with. So plot your garden on paper accordingly, leaving enough space for each plant and keeping the taller plants in the background so they won't shield the lower ones from the sun. So I see what that's saying too. So like putting your smaller goals in front and your bigger goals, like the ultimate goals for your life, in the back. They're higher. Don't let those bigger goals for your life shed over and shadow over your the goals that you need to reach first before you can ultimately get there. So it's almost like finding your pyramid point and working down, because you got to start with the foundation and work your way up. You know, in this case you're going back and forth, but you get the idea. You know, and it says you know, interspersing varying colors, textures, and accent plants for visual interest. So using things in your life to help amplify these visions for you is what I'm picking up on, by using colors, paying attention to the colors, the textures, the things that are going on in your life, you know, whether it's an elemental texture. That's like a texture is like a layer, if you ask me, you know. And also plant at least 3 of each plant so that you will achieve a concentrated rather than a haphazard effect. So again, there, the power of 3, you know, using the power of 369 a lot in your manifestations. I do personally. I use the 369 project book a lot, and you know, I still haven't really mastered like the science of it, the 369 thing, but the ultimate idea for me is to take about 9 seconds a day 9 seconds 3 times a day to repeat, your manifestations, your 6 manifestations, however you want to do that. 369, just play those into the energy is there. Tesla said that. So just know what you're going to be walking into. Really prepare yourself for the correct soil that you're and making sure that the pH levels and everything are correct for what it is that you are So it's like, here it's talking about consider the needs of the plants. One certainly wouldn't put sweet woodruff, which requires a pH soil acidity of between 4.5 and 5.5, 5.5 being significant number, and will thrive in a shady pot in the same bed with lavender, which must have an alkaline soil pH level of 7 to 7.5. and full sun for optimum growth. The great majority of herbs will live happily in the sun in a slightly acid to neutral soil between pH 6 and 7, and many will tolerate a 5 to 6 pH, except for anise, fennel, lavender, and winter savories. On the other end of the spectrum, cassia, henna, horehound, sage, sweet basil, watercress, wintergreen, and yarrow will tolerate soils of acidity as pH 4.5. If you are going to start from scratch, you need thorough information about individual herbs and their requirements. So really taking the time to find what it's going to take for you to bring these goals into manifestation, because part of asking the universe for help is also showing up in the best way to show the universe and communicate with the universe that you are in fact aware of the signs, synchronicities, and symbols that are being sent to you by action. So you are going from scratch to and you're going to need a thorough information and about each of this in your life. Even if you're not planting a new garden, these books are invaluable for their cross-reference guides, which list both botanical and common names for about every herb and variety of herbs available. Now that the prodigal son has returned, rejoice and start digging. So symbolically, that it is Good Friday, and that's very interesting. So I've given you several things in this reading to take into consideration. Just know that there are aids all around for your assistance. I suggest praying, doing some introspection, and just know that you have come a long way, and it's okay to take this time to further go inside and pull out the roots from your life that are not going to help your garden grow. I wish you all a beautiful day and so much love. Thank you.